Guys, am I the only one noticing where a lot of the videos that are produced are coming from? No, I'm talking about the background. Not the polished studios in LA or in a random loft in Oslo or Berlin or in my room. Or, yeah, my room actually. Not my living room per se. I'm talking about the ones where you see a ring light reflecting on a corrugated tin roof, I guess you could say. Or a creator in a room that's the size of a closet with maybe 5 other people sleeping behind the camera. We watch these videos and we call them cringe, we call them desperate, and we scroll past them because they kind of disrupt the clean aesthetic of our feeds. But unfortunately, if you look at the data, those creators aren't the outliers. They are the early warning of a system. They've realized something about the future that we're still trying to ignore. The era of private citizens is ending. There's this statistic going around where creator economy is going to be hitting soon $500 billion. And most people hear that and think, oh my god, this is an opportunity, this is gold rush. But if you look at the numbers, over 200 million people are already in this game, and the vast majority of them are not living the dream. They are low-key the new age of digital peasantry. The 20th century or even before that, the factory was a place that was physical. You walked in, you did your labor, and then you walked out, and now your life is yours again. But nowadays, the factory is unfortunately this. And you know, the product isn't steel or cars, the product is you. We're witnessing an inverted pyramid, and let me try and explain this now. At the top we have the ultra wealthy, and you notice what they're doing? They're disappearing. They're buying dumb phones and they are paying for digital scrubbing, and on top of that they're moving into dead zones, and these dead zones are a place where there's no signal pretty much. And for the elite, privacy is the ultimate symbol. It's the highest luxury, and to be unindexable is the new way of saying you have made it. But for the rest of us, being unindexable is the same as declaring yourself bankrupt. The sad thing is the market no longer cares about your resume. A resume is like a static lie, because what the market demands now is proof of presence. If a software developer is somewhere in Berlin, let's say, because why not? Software developer in Berlin doesn't have a GitHub or doesn't have a LinkedIn where he shows his insights, he's not getting that job because they don't exist according to HR. And if you're a home baker in Ohio and you don't film how you're making this bread, that baker doesn't have a business. And the thing is, this is not marketing, this is economic friction, because the choice of staying offline is starting to become a financial risk, because we're being forced kind of into a system where our ability to pay the bills depends on our willingness to be watched. And 89% of consumers say that they want more content. And the thing is, the consumers don't want to buy from a brand, they want to buy from a person they feel like they kind of own through a screen, more like a modern slave. And this is why those videos coming from the slums is a thing, because those creators aren't really following no passions, they don't have one. They are digital survivors, and they're using the only resource they have left, which is their privacy, and they're kind of trading it for a last chance at a global currency, I guess you could say. And I wouldn't even call them content creators, they're more like visible digital gig workers. You know, when we were younger, we were raised on the idea that you work at a 9-to-5 job, you're done with the 9-to-5 job, you close the door, and then your life kind of starts, or you start existing, I guess you could say. That's the perfect quiet life we were taught and brought up on, and that was kind of the contract. But that contract has been terminated and shredded. While the privacy rich people withdraw into their analog estates, privacy poor people are being funneled into a digital panopticon. And that's because we're being told that our greatest asset is our authenticity. But unfortunately, authenticity is kind of a kind word for saying total transparency. Every time you're explaining a concept to a coworker, you're kind of performing a unpaid labor that could have been monetized some ways or some sort. And every time you have a private thought, you're wasting a content. And that is the psychological tax of the 2020s. The pressure to turn every hobby and every relationship and every aspect of your life into a product. And I think I kind of struggle with that. Reason for saying that is because I think I always want to document everything I do. Literally everything I do. But the difference is I have the privilege to be offline and just have them on my phone. I have the option to not share them because I have a great job and I live quite comfortably, so I don't need to share it. But for others who are struggling, they have to do it. And there's a thing I saw recently, which was like a survey actually, and this recent survey actually showed that 80% of content creators are using AI for some sort, to some degree or to some extent, to help them keep up with the demand for content. And something that I realized is that we're using machines to become better machines so that we can produce more content, and we're trying to outproduce an algorithm that never sleeps, just so that we can maintain a digital footprint that justifies our bank account. I'm not saying this is good, and I'm definitely not saying go and start a channel, but I'm just observing the tide, you could say. I'm just saying what I'm seeing, and that is that the middle ground is kind of disappearing, and the world is kind of splitting into two groups: the wealthy who have enough money to stay silent and stay off the grid, and those who are being forced to stay afloat. When you see those videos that are produced in horrible conditions, don't make fun of them, don't call it cringe. Look at the requirements. Look at the gravity of that 500 billion industry that has decided that your life is a raw material. And the choice isn't whether you want to be a creator or not. The choice is whether you can afford the luxury of being a ghost. And I think looking at the way the world is moving, I think we kind of know our answer here.